made a couple modifications. One thing we had to do, if you notice the slope of the panel, it's 15 degrees. So I cut right here. We still got a metal finish all this, but there's a 15-degree triangle in here. That's why you see the two beads converging. What that did was allow us to get our core support flat. Another thing, we still got to weld this seam. We also boxed in the back to make it really strong, really rigid. Now, if you look at the way this S&P radiator is set up, the intercooler actually sets offset to the passenger side. And they do this so the inlet and outlet for the intercooler clear the radiator. So the intercooler's towards the passenger side and the radiator's a little bit towards the driver's side. But we centered it based on the look from the front of the car. We wanted to make sure that when you're looking at the front of it and you look through the openings, that the intercooler is evenly spaced. So that was something we wanted to make sure we got right. Another thing, if you'll look over here, each one of these pieces of web, for lack of a better term, is 5/8 wide. So I've cut a 5/8 radius larger than the cap. I'm gonna cut another piece or draw another piece in SolidWorks. It's gonna go right in here. We'll metal finish all of it, radius the corners. But this is just a nice clean relief for our radiator cap. So we have plenty of room. I'm happy with the fit. We'll be able to put a little rubber seal in here and just a little tab right here to secure the top of the radiator. This is going to bolt through. It is bolted through right here on the fender. We'll replace it with better looking hardware. This is just for mock-up. And then inside here, you're going to have L brackets with adjustments. We're going to put 2 more welded bungs in here that are M6x1, same as this thread. So you have adjustable bracket. And the reason I like doing this is because, like I always say, try to do stuff like a race car. I want to make it serviceable. If we ever want to remove the core support rather than the welded one, now we'll be able to take this thing in and out. Another modification we made, don't know if you can see it, moving the radiator moved the location points for the rubber isolators that the radiator sits on. So that was a real simple task. Just put down some blue tape, mark the center of the radiator mounting holes, drill a hole, and then weld a M6. You can weld a nut in there if that's your only option. You can make a little threaded bung on a lathe, just tap some round stock to M6x1. Now that we got the intercooler and radiator pretty rigidly mounted, the next thing we did, we started working on our intake side, our intercooler side. So here's our inlet side. We're going to be running the stubby EGR race pipe, or I should say EGR delete and race pipe. It's coming from S&P. We ordered it a couple days ago. Should end right about here. When I get that stubby race pipe, we'll mark the tube where it's appropriate and trim it back to cut it. So we've got this tube all mocked up. It flows nicely. It's going to clear the cover. Once we weld this up and metal finish it, our next task is going to be from the turbocharger to the intercooler. You can see down there, it's going to be a little more tricky. It's going to have to snake around and go down the back side of the motor. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the fabrication progress. This is going to be a nice car. It'll be pretty well fabricated and put together. Customer seems pretty happy with it. So once the intercooler side gets completely fabricated and we're all done with that, the next thing we're going to jump over is to finishing the exhaust. We got the downpipe from S&P. It's stainless, it's 2 1/4. It comes with a flange, which is nice. So we're going to install that S&P stainless downpipe, and then from there we're going to weld on a V-band, and we're going to be running stainless exhaust out the back with a stainless muffler. Not sure what the customer wants to run for a muffler yet, but once we decide on that, we'll be able to wrap up all the rest of the major fabrication that's involved with an engine swap. After that, we'll just be taking the motor back out, detailing it, and then getting ready for final assembly.